So in 2023, I had the weirdest Mandela effect that I think I've ever had in my entire life. And I've known about the Mandela effect since 2017 when I learned about it on YouTube. And at the time, the biggest Mandela effect that I had experienced was the Curious George having a tail, then no longer having a tail one day. And that was essentially the biggest one for the longest time until 2023. So one particular morning, I wake up and the air around me feels completely different. And the closest way I could really describe it as, it's like the air particles were vibrating at a slightly different rate. It's very hard. It's a very weird thing to sort of describe, but everything just felt really weird and a little different. And at the time, I just chalked this up to me just having a weird dream. And because it does happen sometimes when you have like a weird dream or a nightmare. You might wake up feeling a little weird for a little while, but this feeling didn't wear off within a few minutes like how weird dream sensations do. This feeling actually persisted for about half the day. And at some point, I'm watching YouTube and I come across a video titled, I think 12 new Mandela effects found. I click on it, and one of the Mandela effects that was mentioned was the ending of Rocky 4 being different. Now, we all know that the ending of Rocky 4 is Rocky beating the fucking Russian guy, but he basically said that the Russian guy now beats Rocky, which was contrary to what he remembered. I thought it was nonsense, so I basically searched up the Rocky 4 ending on YouTube, and I actually clicked on a video that I watched before years ago prior, and I remember the video had like a certain video length, but for some reason the video length was longer now. It was actually a few minutes longer. I click on the video and I watch it from start to finish, and sure as shit, the ending of Rocky 4 was completely different. The entire fight was the exact same up until the very end, where some key pivotal moment happens, and suddenly the Russian guy recovers from some sort of like set of blows, and he just knocks Rocky out. And I think to myself, like, I must be going insane, right? Or maybe my memory's bad, or maybe I really did reality shift. I really genuinely questioned my sanity at this very moment, because it completely was contrary to what I remember. And the weirdest part is that when you watch a YouTube video, how it actually shows you the red bar at the bottom of the thumbnail. Like if you watch a video and then you revisit it later, it has a red bar showing you how much of the video that you watched. Well, when I saw the video again, despite its longer length, it actually showed that I had watched the full video previously, but I didn't. The full video that I watched was shorter, and it had the end, basically Rocky beating the Russian guy. So essentially, at some point, I looked on the internet, searching for people that also experienced this Mandela effect too, and I came across a few Reddit posts talking about it, and one of them, oddly enough, was from 8 years prior to that point. And this is scary because this kind of implies that people don't shift all at once. You could shift to a reality years before somebody else does, and that has a lot of implications. That's kind of really weird. But this guy in this post from 8 years ago is basically saying that he remembers Rocky winning, and now Rocky loses, and how it completely changes the context of the movie. And I think there was something said about how the spirit of the movie was about the American spirit trying even when it doesn't have a chance to win. Like the American spirit still fights even when it knows it's most likely going to lose. It was something weird like that. And in the comment section of this Reddit post, basically people were telling him that he just had bad memory. He was just simply misremembering. And this was the same thing that a lot of people said in a lot of the other posts about this whole Rocky 4 situation. There was even several YouTube videos of people talking about this. At some point, I completely give up on trying to, find out why the Rocky 4 ending is suddenly different, and I go about my life again. And a few weeks pass, and I want to tell my dad about this Mandela effect because I know he's watched Rocky 4 before. I know he knows how the the whole ending of the movie is, and he's aware of the Mandela effect as well because I've told him about it years and years ago, back when the whole subject piqued my interest. So he doesn't believe me when I tell him that the Rocky 4 ending is suddenly different and the Russian guy beats him. So he searches up the video on YouTube. He clicks on the same one that I watched, and the video was shorter again. And he skips to the end, and it shows Rocky beating the Russian guy suddenly. And I'm thinking to myself, like, like this is like the most unusual thing I've ever experienced, right? So I basically I go back to my room, I grab my phone again, and I do some research, and I try to find those posts again that I saw, and every single Reddit post that I had seen previously wasn't there anymore. Every YouTube video wasn't there anymore, and there was no mention whatsoever about any Mandela effect regarding the ending of Rocky Four. Still to this day, I look for people online who have had this Mandela effect, and I can't find anything about it. This experience sort of reshaped how I think of the Mandela effect. I used to think of like it being a glitch in reality, reality being a sort of simulation, a literal computer simulation, and those just being little computer glitches. But this sort of like made me realize that we actually have multiple versions of us, and we can actually move our awareness between them. Now, I can't do this intentionally. Every time that I've, done this on the astral, it wasn't really intentional. It was just something that just happened. But this was the first time that I had experienced it in the physical that I'm aware of. But yeah, that was my Mandela Effect experience, the strongest one I've ever had in my entire life. I'm probably going to talk about the whole astral thing at a later point, because I have astral projected to other realities. I have been able to briefly take control of alternate versions of myself, and I've seen quite a few things that were pretty bad in terms of nuclear war in alternate realities that I also want to share as well at some point. But yeah, so that was my Mandela Effect, and yeah, that was about it.